Okay, good afternoon, folks. It's April the 6th, Wednesday. News It or Lose It is the news organization. Okay, we're going to run through a few topics today. First thing is President Biden admitted that the USA is training Ukrainian troops. Now, he didn't say where, but I heard that some are training here on those new drones, those new ratchet drones that can hone onto a target and they can hover without anybody knowing. And I'm sure we're training some in Poland, I would imagine. But anyway, they shouldn't be talking about it. I mean, if you're smart, don't talk about what you're doing, just do it. Give them Ukraine the weapons, the training, what have you, and let them handle it. They've already pushed back the Russians halfway. They've taken away half of the Russian gains in Ukraine. So another 30 days, we're 30 days plus in, another 30 days, the Russians will probably be kicked out. There'll be a lot of dead Russians then because they got new tanks today too. I believe they were from the old Soviet tank from somewhere in NATO. Doesn't matter where. Ukrainians have them, they'll use them, they'll be successful. Also what's proposed today is new military bases in Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and Estonia and Romania to, as a deterrent for Putin trying to go in those countries. I mean, that's what his plan. People have talked about this for decades, 3 decades, 2 decades he's been in power, reuniting old Mother Russia. So those countries, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Estonia, and Romania, are all targets. They're all ex-Soviet Union countries, states. So but the deal is those countries would have to pay for the bases and our troops would be rotated. There wouldn't be permanently stationed troops, they would be rotate in and out. So that'll cost those countries. They'll pay for that security, which they should. And that's what President Trump got NATO to do, pay up. They have to pay up. He warned them years ago about, and there's video of it, of don't buy Russian gas and you better pay for your NATO dues because you're going to need to. And sure enough, he was right. All right, anyway. Most of our U.S.-based troops are located in Germany, in case anybody wants to know right now. We've got almost 100,000 in Europe. We have about 80,000 in Europe, and the other 20 are spread throughout the Baltic states. Poland, Estonia, Latvia, Romania, and Lithuania. Because of Putin's threat, that they were the other 20,000 were sent post this invasion. Next on the Jen Psaki and Hunter Biden. Jen Psaki, the presidential spokesperson, she should not be answering questions about President Biden's activities regarding what he knows or doesn't know or said or didn't say to the Department of Justice regarding Hunter Biden's investigation, the laptop, all that. It's really stupid for them to talk about anything that's going on with the weapons in Ukraine. Just send the weapons. Don't give the enemy an upper hand what you're doing, what you're not doing. 2, Jen Psaki answering these questions, she's going to trigger more investigations. I mean, you would think that the handlers of President Biden that are watching out for him would not allow her to speak out and answer questions. She answered the question that was asked by Peter Doocy of Fox News, that did President Biden ever speak to the Department of Justice? That's a problem. If he had, of course, she answered that he didn't. And as far as we know, we can assume he didn't. Because if he had, that means that he could interfere with the investigation, which is an impeachable offense. So she needs to learn to keep it quiet too. Jen Psaki, the White House spokesperson. They also were discussing getting security clearances because some of the people that were involved with Hunter Biden had security clearances. It's not an easy thing to do. And they're saying, they interview your neighbors, your friends, all that, and you look at your financial records, and they have access to that while you're serving in the government, and they'll check those records after you get a clearance, even if it's a minor clearance. But anyway, some of Hunter Biden's people that he was involved with had a security clearance. So if they helped him do anything nefarious meaning bad, in case you didn't know, they could lose their security clearance. And if he did something, that reached a criminal justice level, they could face charges. So, questions were asked like, what is the president's knowledge of, did he have any knowledge or participation in Hunter Biden getting money from Chinese businessmen and those Chinese businessmen are linked to Chinese intelligence. Those type of things, those questions, that may come up in the investigation, and the president might be asked to answer those questions. We'll see. But the spokesperson should not be answering that. I mean, that's just not smart. It's also purported that Hunter Biden may have violated the Foreign Relations Act. That means that if you have any dealings with foreign governments and you take money, you have to report that to the government. Very important. So we'll see if how that pans out. I'm not sure when the indictment's going to come up, if there's going to be an indictment, but I'll let you know about when. I'm thinking about a month or two is when the potential of the indictment will come. Oh, on the Masters that starts tomorrow, Augusta, so it should be exciting. Beautiful golf course. If you guys ever been there, or you can watch it on TV, it's really beautiful, and it's a heck of a course, and it's very challenging. So watch that if you can. Next, today the oil companies were on Capitol Hill, and they were being grilled by Congress, and a lot of the Democrat Congress people really were giving it to them. But the truth is the market sets the price. The oil business is a global market, and they were asked by the Republican senators whether that was something that they could control, and they said, well, one company cannot control the price of oil. And obviously oil is refined into gas, for those you don't know. And 11% of the refineries for our gas consumption are outside of the U.S. That's just the way it's set up. There's certain special fuels like kerosene have to be distilled in those plants outside the country. We could probably bring it back here one day, I'm sure, but it's a huge investment from what I understand. But anyway, the Republicans asked the oil company executives who testified not in person but virtual via TV. And a lot of them said that they took losses. One company took a $20 billion loss, another one $7 billion, another one $6 billion in 2020 because of the pandemic and all that. So they have a lot of write-offs, tax deduction. And so it was an interesting, the Democrats really went after what the oil companies and accused them of greed. But when you see what it costs to really go out, they were explaining what it really costs to go out and drill for oil. It's very expensive. And if there's more regulation that they've claimed that the Biden administration has put on the oil and gas industry, then it makes it less, obviously not worth taking the chance. So if the regulations are added on, they need to be lowered. There's some balance need to be set so we can get on some type of transitional green energy plan. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. The sun and the wind is not going to power us in the next 5 years. It's probably going to take 20 to 40 years, or maybe 50. So I hope to work on something like that and to put that forward. Lastly, student loans were discussed. The Democrats want the taxpayers to foot the bill for student loan debt. And of course, that's people have strong opinions about that. They're claiming because of the pandemic or what have you, some of those loans should be paid off, and other people are saying, "Hey, I paid off my student loans. Why are you getting yours? Why do you want yours paid off by the government?" And one lady I heard say in the news, she said, "Quit whining, pay off your student loans, get a job, and do it like the rest of us." Just an opinion. And lastly, not to end on a bad note, but we are Mariupol. There was 210 dead children. Supposedly the Russians, it's a city in Ukraine. Russians brought in a crematorium, and they showed video today I saw of the burned bodies. They actually killed civilians, the Russians did, and burned their bodies. So this is why Ukraine is a big deal. So we will see what happens, and we will report again soon. Thanks for listening.